Good evening, everyone. This is April the 21st, 2021, and Eve has told me that she would like to speak on justice tonight. She has already warned me to try hard not to block because some of the things she will be talking about, I personally have some very strong opinions on. So let's see what she has to say, shall we? Yes, we are aware that there have been several questions put to us, and we will be responding to these in due course. However, tonight we wish to discuss the concept of justice. We have chosen this because of this concept being largely in the news these last few weeks. We speak primarily of the trial of the police officer who has since been found guilty of three types of murder. Now, this news hits the United States primarily. However, we find that it has been of interest worldwide. Many other countries have followed this story. Now, the concept that these events bring up is the concept of justice. Now, there are several types of justice, as justice is a very malleable thing. There is not, as in trauma and several other concepts we have discussed before, there's not one definition of justice that suffices for the entire world over all time periods. Justice changes according to the mores of the times, of who might be in power in any given time, and it certainly changes within realities. You may find that in one probable reality of yours, you define justice one way, and yet in another probable reality, you will define it another way. Now, let us take this case that has just been decided, although, of course, there is much more to come in regard to this, and let us look at it as a matter of justice. Now, there are those who feel that because this man was convicted, that justice has been done, or at least has been started, as there will be others who will come to court being involved in this same incident. They also feel there has been justice because those who witnessed the event also came to court and spoke freely and openly about what they saw and what they felt. Now, this justice or definition of justice that this man was found guilty should be examined by each of you. Now, on the one hand, some will say he was found guilty because the jurors were afraid. They were afraid that if they did not find him guilty, there would be many more attacks, protests, and much more damage might be done. And then there are those who say no. These people were very open minded, they were fair, they understood what was going on. Then there are those who said, oh, they paid attention and made up their minds before going into discussion. And so they came to their conclusions quite rapidly. And some will feel this was just, and some will say, no, this was not just at all. So we wish to say this is several ways of looking at things in this particular reality that most of you are following right now. We wish to remind you that in other realities, different things occurred. For instance, in one reality, this man was never brought to trial. Which, by the way, he expected to happen in this reality. He was quite surprised that he was brought to trial at all, and even more surprised that he was convicted. Okay, so now we say in other realities, he was brought to court, but he was not convicted. In other realities, he was assassinated before he could come to court. But we will try to remain discussing justice in terms of the reality that most of you are following. Now, we must consider the totality of what is occurring here. This man may go to jail, or he may not go to jail, for he may be assassinated before he can serve any time. We also would say that his chances of survival in jail, should he go to jail, are minimal at this point in time. Because he was an officer of the law, he will not be well loved when he goes to prison. Additionally, because the man he killed was black, and so many of the men in American prisons are black, this also counts against him. Now, of course, we find the whole concept of race to be ridiculous, but it does operate in the reality in which you are currently participating. So let us look at justice at this perspective. Does putting this man in such a probable dangerous situation constitute justice? Is justice an eye for an eye? In which case, he should be put to death in the same manner as which he killed this man. We also wish you to think and remember that all of this is done with agreement on both parts. This man agreed that this should be his last moments on earth, and he had many reasons for this, one of which was to not become a martyr exactly, but to awaken to a larger degree the entire United States about what has been occurring for so many years. He is not the only one to have done this, of course, and this will not be cured or resolved with just this one case. However, we do wish you to understand that while most of you would not consider this to have been a just death, it was an agreed upon death. So is there justice in jailing the man who committed this crime, what you define as a crime, when we know that the participant agreed to it? That is one question that you may want to think about when you think about justice. All participants in any event, no matter how tragically you may view it to be,